In the blood-red twilight of Draconis X-13, a world ravaged by storms of corrosive fury, the very air seemed to crackle with tension. Rax Maros, the unyielding leader of the Deathworlders, stood on the precipice of a jagged cliff, his sharp gaze fixed on the horizon. Suddenly, a blinding explosion of light shattered the oppressive gloom, revealing a sleek human vessel emerging from the depths of the cosmos. Was this a harbinger of doom or a mere flicker of hope? As the vessel descended, it ignited a primal fear within Rax, a fear that the legendary status of his people, the fiercest survivors of the galaxy, might soon be eclipsed. Draconis X-13 was no mere planet. It was a crucible where survival was not a choice, but a way of life. Here, amidst the toxic storms and desolate landscapes, the Deathworlders had thrived, evolving to face the specter of death at every turn. Their culture, steeped in a harsh code of honor and relentless violence, celebrated each battle as a testament to their indomitable spirit. But now, the arrival of these humans, adapted to the very savagery that defined the Deathworlders, sent ripples of uncertainty through Rax's mind. Could it be that their struggles mirrored his own? As Rax pondered this unsettling revelation, the winds howled like lost souls, echoing the legacy of his ancestors. He thought of the legends whispered around the flickering fires of his people, tales of resilience that had shaped their identity. Yet, in this moment, a shadow loomed over those tales, taunting him with the possibility that the humans, far from being fragile invaders, were forged from the same brutal cloth. The thought felt like a blade twisting in his gut. The atmosphere around him thickened, charged with a sense of foreboding. It was as if the very landscape of Draconis X-13, with its jagged mountains and treacherous ravines, was holding its breath, awaiting the clash of titans. Canyons carved by eons of elemental fury seemed to whisper secrets of old, secrets that spoke of bloodlines intertwined and destinies yet to unfold. The air was heavy with the scent of rain and scorched earth, a cruel reminder that survival often came at the cost of sacrifice. As the human ship landed, a peculiar unease gripped Rax's heart. Memories of his childhood flooded back, images of his father, a formidable warrior lost to the very storms that shaped their world. The scars of that loss had carved deep grooves in his soul, fueling his thirst for strength and dominance. Would this new threat force him to confront not only the fragility of his own legacy, but also the haunting shadows of his past? But as Rax watched, transfixed, figures began to emerge from the vessel, their silhouettes stark against the fiery horizon. He could see the glint of weapons, the tense posture of their bodies, warriors just like his own. This was no mere encounter. It was a collision of two worlds, both steeped in the same brutal narrative of survival. He felt the weight of his people's expectations pressing down upon him, a reminder that the very essence of what it meant to be a Deathworlder was at stake. Yet, as the humans approached, something inexplicable stirred within him, a flicker of recognition, a shared pulse of resilience. The lines drawn between predator and prey began to blur, and Rax couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter would unravel the very fabric of their existence. But when night fell, something unimaginable happened. As darkness enveloped Draconis X-13, the winds carried an eerie stillness, a deceptive calm that belied the chaos of the day. Rax Maros stood firm, his heart pounding in rhythm with the distant throbbing pulse of the human vessel. The figures that emerged were not mere intruders, they were a living testament to the relentless struggle for survival, each step echoing the weight of their own battles, their own losses. Among them was a woman with striking copper hair, her eyes sharp as the blade she wielded. She was named Kaelin, a warrior whose reputation preceded her, a fierce commander known to lead her people through the most harrowing of trials. As she approached Rax, her gaze pierced through the murky twilight, and for a fleeting moment, he felt an uncanny kinship. They were both products of their worlds, molded by the fires of adversity. "Rax Meros," she called, her voice steady despite the tempest around them. "We come seeking alliance, not conquest." Her words hung in the air, heavy with implications. An alliance? The thought sent a jolt of surprise through him. He had anticipated hostility, perhaps even war, but this new development stirred something deep within him, curiosity mixed with skepticism. "Why should I trust you?" Rax retorted, his tone laced with suspicion. "Your kind is known for their invasions, not their partnerships." The wind picked up, swirling debris around them, as if nature itself was impatient for the truth to reveal itself. Kaylin's expression hardened, but her resolve remained unyielding. "We are not here to conquer your world. We've faced our own demons, fought our own battles. Our arrival is not an act of aggression, but a plea for understanding." Behind her, a hulking figure stepped forward, a man named Garrick, whose scars told tales of triumph over monstrous beasts. His presence was a reminder of the darker side of survival, the violent paths forged in the name of honor. "I've heard your stories, Deathworlder," Garrick said, his voice like gravel. "Your resilience is admirable, but consider this. The storms you endure may soon be the least of your concerns." The ominous tone in his voice sent shivers down Rax's spine, hinting at a threat that loomed beyond their immediate conflict. In that moment, Rax felt the weight of history bearing down upon him. The storms that had shaped his people were not just physical phenomena, they were metaphors for the chaos that resided in the hearts of all warriors. As he glanced at Kaylin and Garrick, he recognized the flicker of shared pain in their eyes, a reflection of his own struggles, a reminder that they were all just survivors on different fronts. Yet the deeper conflict raged within Rax's mind. Could he risk his people's legacy by trusting these outsiders? The fear of vulnerability gripped him, but beneath it lay an undeniable yearning for connection. His ancestors had fought against the very notion of dependence, but perhaps this was a new battle, one that could redefine the very essence of survival. As they exchanged tense words, a low rumble echoed through the sky, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. The storm that had always been a backdrop to their existence now seemed to respond to the tension brewing between them. Rax's instincts screamed for caution, but the thrill of an unfolding narrative, a story larger than himself, pulled him forward. "Listen to me," Rax finally said, his voice steadier than he felt. "If we are to speak of alliances, we must first face the storm together. The challenges ahead are not just of our making. They are born from forces we cannot comprehend." It was a gamble, a step into the unknown. But as he looked into Kaylin's eyes, he sensed that this encounter would be pivotal, not just for his people, but for the fate of their intertwined destinies. Just then, a violent crack of lightning split the sky, illuminating the dark clouds swirling above. In that brief flash, Rax saw shapes moving within the tempest, shadows that hinted at something far worse than either side had anticipated. Whatever had brought the humans to Draconis X-13 was not merely an encounter between two races, it was a prelude to an ancient horror, awakening from its slumber. The storm had only just begun. As the crack of lightning illuminated the swirling clouds, a deep foreboding settled over Rax Meros. Shadows danced within the tempest, twisting and contorting, as if they were alive, and for a fleeting moment he felt the ground beneath him shift in a way that was all too familiar. The sensation sparked a memory, a childhood trauma he had buried deep within his psyche. He recalled the day the storms had claimed his home, the day he had watched helplessly as the winds tore through the village, leaving destruction in their wake. It was a memory of chaos, of loss, that had shaped him into the leader he was today. But this was different. As he gazed into the storm, doubt gnawed at him. What if the forces they faced were not merely natural phenomena, but something far More sinister? The legends of ancient beings that once roamed Draconis X13 whispered in his ear, stories of awakened terrors that had been sealed away by his ancestors. The thought sent chills up his spine, and he turned his gaze back to Kalen and Garrick, seeking answers that eluded him. "Did you see that?" Rax's voice trembled as he pointed toward the storm, an urgency taking hold. Kalen and Garrick exchanged glances, their expressions betraying a flicker of confusion. "I saw nothing but the tempest," Kalen replied, her brow furrowing. "What haunts you, Rax?" He hesitated, grappling with the fear of exposing his vulnerabilities. "The storms have always spoken to me, but this feels different, like something is awakening." The weight of his admission hung heavy in the air, and he could see the realization dawn in Kalen's eyes. Garrick stepped forward, the gravity of his presence palpable. "You fear the legends, don't you? They are more than tales of old. They are warnings." Rax swallowed hard, the memories of his past colliding with the present. His ancestors had warned him of the cycle of destruction and rebirth, the storms that could pave the way for ancient evils to rise again. The storms are tied to our history, and if they are waking, it means someone has stirred them from their slumber. Suddenly, the ground shook violently, sending Rax stumbling. The shadows in the tempest coalesced, and a monstrous shape emerged, silhouetted against the storm. It was massive, an embodiment of the very chaos that had haunted his nightmares. Rax's heart raced, panic clawing at him. This was not merely a metaphor. The past he had tried to escape was manifesting. Before his eyes, Kalen's voice cut through his spiraling thoughts. "We must act. This isn't just your battle, Rax. It's ours now." Garrick nodded, a fierce determination igniting within him. "What we face is a shared threat, but we need to know. What do the legends say?" As Rax hesitated, grappling with the weight of their expectations and his own fears, he felt the storm's energy surge, intertwining with his memories. Whispers of ancient rituals and forbidden knowledge flooded his mind. He realized that the truth was more complex than he had ever imagined, a tapestry woven from the threads of his people's history, the human struggles, and the awakening of a darkness that sought to consume them all. Just then, a deafening roar echoed through the air, silencing their thoughts and amplifying their fears. The world seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next move. In that moment, Rax understood that the path ahead would demand more than mere alliances. It would require a reckoning with the ghosts of the past, a confrontation with the very essence of survival itself. And as the storm raged on, they prepared to face whatever horrors awaited them, united in their shared destiny. The storm unleashed its fury, crackling with a violent intensity that mirrored Rax's inner turmoil. The monstrous silhouette loomed larger, its form shifting as if it were composed of the very tempest itself. Rax's heart raced, each beat echoing the primal fear he had long tried to suppress. As he stood at the precipice of confrontation, he could feel the weight of Kalen and Garrick beside him, their resolve radiating like a lifeline amid the chaos. "Stay close," he shouted, his voice barely cutting through the cacophony. Kalen nodded, her eyes fierce and unwavering, while Garrick clenched his fists, ready to face the storm head-on. Together, they formed an unbreakable front against the ancient terror that had risen from the depths of their shared history. But as the creature roared again, the sound reverberated through Rax's bones, tugging at the corners of his mind where doubt lingered. Was he truly prepared to confront the harbingers of destruction? The legends foretold of a sacrifice, a willingness to confront not only the external adversary, but the inner demons that had haunted him since childhood. He felt the storm's energy coursing through him, urging him to remember the rituals of his ancestors, the songs of binding and sealing. "Rax," Kalen's voice broke through his reverie. "We need your strength to channel this energy. Focus!" He looked at her, the fierce determination in her eyes igniting a spark within him. It was time to cast aside the chains of his past, to confront the memories that had kept him shackled. Rax drew a deep breath, summoning the ancient power that flowed through his lineage, and he began to chant the words that had been passed down through generations, a forgotten incantation echoing with the weight of his ancestry. As he spoke, the storm responded. Lightning crackled, illuminating the creature's form in stark relief. It was a swirling mass of shadow and fury, eyes like molten gold, burning with an ancient hunger. In that moment, Rax felt a connection, a profound understanding that this entity was not merely a force of nature, but a reflection of the chaos within himself. Suddenly, Garrick stepped forward, his voice booming over the roar of the storm. "We cannot let it overwhelm us. Remember the stories. You are not alone in this fight." His words struck a chord, resonating deep within Rax's spirit, bolstering his resolve. But then, as if sensing their unity, the creature lunged, its form shifting unpredictably. Kaelin leaped into action, drawing her blade and slashing at the shadows, but they enveloped her, threatening to pull her into the abyss. "Rax, help me," she cried, and the panic in her voice ignited a fire within. Him! Rax's focus sharpened. The bond they shared became a conduit of strength. He thrust his hand forward, channeling the incantation with renewed vigor. The storm's energy began to swirl around them, intertwining with their intentions. They were not mere individuals, but a force united against the darkness. With a thundering roar, the creature reared back, momentarily stunned by their collective will. This was the decisive moment, the culmination of their fears and hopes. Rax's heart raced as he summoned everything within him, his pain, his loss, his determination. He locked eyes with Garrick and Kaelin, a silent vow passing between them. They would face this together. As the shadows writhed and the storm raged, Rax understood that this battle was not just for survival, it was for reconciliation with the past, a chance to reclaim the narrative of their lives. With one final surge of energy, he unleashed the incantation, the storm answering his call. The ground trembled, the sky split with light, and in that moment, everything would change. Every choice he had made had led to this confrontation, and as the energy crackled around him, Rax braced for the storm's ultimate reckoning. As the incantation erupted from Rax's lips, the storm responded with a fury that shook the very earth beneath them. Lightning seared through the sky, illuminating the monstrous creature in a blinding flash. The shadows writhed, thrashing against the force of their unity. An energy surge rippled through Rax, a primal connection igniting within him. As he felt the full weight of his lineage, the darkness recoiled, momentarily disoriented. Kaelin's blade sliced through the shadows. Garrick's fists pounded against the air, and together they forged a barrier of light that pushed back the chaos. Rax felt the storm's energy coalesce around them, amplifying their resolve into something tangible, something powerful. Then, with a deafening roar that echoed through the night, the creature surged forward, a final desperate attempt to reclaim its dominion. Rax, heart hammering in his chest, pushed harder, pouring every ounce of his being into the incantation. The storm responded, coiling into a vortex that enveloped the creature, drawing it back toward the heart of the tempest. But as the storm reached its zenith, a violent explosion of energy erupted. Rax felt the force slam into him, sending him sprawling to the ground. The world spun, darkening at the edges of his vision as he gasped for breath. When the dust settled and the storm began to dissipate, Rax staggered to his feet, pain radiating through his body. Kaelin and Garrick were beside him, both shaken but alive. Kaelin's shoulder was bruised, her blade now dulled from the encounter, while Garrick bore scars across his arms, remnants of their struggle against the shadows. They exchanged a look, the shared relief mingling with the weight of what they had faced. But as they surveyed the aftermath, an unsettling silence fell over the landscape. The creature was gone, but remnants of its power lingered in the air, a low hum that spoke of unresolved tension. Rax's heart sank. While they had prevailed, the battle had left its mark, both physically and emotionally. Each of them bore scars that would not easily fade. "Is it over?" Kaelin asked, her voice shaky. "I don't know," Rax admitted, glancing toward the horizon where the storm had once roared. The clouds still churned ominously, flickers of light dancing within them, hinting at a lingering threat. "There's something we're missing," Garrick frowned, his eyes narrowing. "The legend spoke of a guardian, didn't they? Perhaps this was only a fragment of something much larger." Rax nodded. "We may have sealed this entity, but if we don't understand its origins, if we don't uncover the truth, it could return." The three of them stood in silence, the weight of their victory overshadowed by the uncertainty that lay ahead. Rax's mind buzzed with questions, each one leading deeper into the labyrinth of their past, into the secrets that had been hidden for so long. "Let's regroup," Kaelin suggested, her voice steadying. "We need to gather information, find out what we're truly up against." As they turned to leave, a flicker of movement caught Rax's eye, something shimmering in the remnants of the storm. He hesitated, a sense of foreboding creeping into his chest. The storm had not just revealed their strength, it had unveiled something else entirely, something that whispered of new mysteries waiting to be uncovered. And as they walked away, the shadows began to shift once more, hinting at a deeper darkness that still loomed just beyond the edges of their understanding, setting the stage for the challenges yet to come. As Rax, Kaelin, and Garrick continued their journey, the echoes of their recent battle haunted them. The remnants of the storm whispered secrets of an ancient power, and as night fell, a palpable tension enveloped them. They soon found themselves at a crossroads, where the path diverged into two equally foreboding routes. "Each path leads to the heart of the storm," Kaelin said, her voice trembling. "But only one holds the key to understanding this darkness." Garrick clenched his fists, the weight of their choices pressing heavily upon them. "We can't turn back. We must know what lies ahead." But Rax felt a chill creep up his spine. He understood that each choice carried its own dreadful consequence. To the left, the path glowed faintly, promising knowledge, but shrouded in the eerie silence of shadowed figures lurking just beyond vision. To the right, the air crackled with raw energy, filled with the wails of the lost and echoes of despair, a place that hinted at a power that could corrupt even the purest of hearts. "Choose wisely," Rax said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Either we confront the truth of our past, or we risk becoming part of the very darkness we seek to vanquish." Kaelin looked at Rax, tears glistening in her eyes. "What if we choose wrong?" In that moment, they understood the gravity of their situation. Rax took a deep breath, the weight of his lineage pressing down on him. "We face this together," he said, "no matter the cost." As they stood at the precipice of fate, they realized that the choice before them was not just about survival. It was about the very essence of who they were and the legacy they would leave behind. The group stepped forward, hearts pounding, knowing that no matter which path they took, both would lead to a reckoning. And as they vanished into the shadows, a storm gathered once more, echoing their choices in a cacophony of thunder and despair. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Share with your friends so they can also embark on this mystery-filled adventure. Leave a comment below telling us your favorite part or what kind of ending you'd like to see in a future story.